So it's been a while since we've talked about shipping out items here on the channel. You see, in reality, I come down here basically every day now and I pack and ship out eBay sales. But I do realize that I've stopped sharing that on the channel here for a little bit because, again, it was getting a little bit repetitive and boring, and also I'm using, customer addresses and oftentimes dealing with personal information of the customers that I can't share with you guys on camera. That being said, though, the long weekend just passed and I have a lot of orders that have came through. I haven't checked just yet, but I've seen a lot of notifications pop up. I'm excited to see what we sold here. There's definitely gonna be some video games and possibly even some other items. But yeah, I figured since it's been a while since I've showed how I pack my orders and how I pull them and all that, I figured we could do that in today's video here with hopefully quite a few orders. Real quick before we hop into this video, just a reminder that if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I would highly recommend doing it. Down below I post 3 videos like this every single week, and with that, let's jump into the orders and let's go ahead and get them pulled. Okay, so as a lot of you guys know, over here is where the bulk of the video games are stored, but if you're new to the channel, I use a very simple bin system where I list the SKUs on eBay under the custom SKU section, the number of the bins, and that's where the game gets stored. It makes it super easy to go ahead and pull all these items when they're shipped out, because again, there's almost 1,000 items that are listed now. There's well over probably 1,500, 2,000 items here in total, which means that it can get quite hard to go through them all and obviously pull them if you don't have these custom SKUs at. So it's definitely helpful, and it's what we're going to be using today to pull all the orders. So yeah, all the video game orders are going to be in this area on these shelves, and then the rest of the orders could be in any places. I'm not really sure yet, but we'll go ahead and figure those out afterwards. Anyway, I'm going to set up a quick time lapse and we're going to go ahead and pull all these orders. Okay, and as you can see, yeah, we do have quite a few sales going out today. These are all the inbox items that I pulled, or in-case games that I pulled, and then we've got this nice little stack of loose discs that all sold, as well as these ones here that are already in the cases. So, not too bad there. Now let me make it clear, there's a very good chance that I missed pulling one of the items, and this happens more than you think because of just the way eBay works when I'm going through things. First of all, I'm kind of rushing through to pick out as quickly as I can, but also, some buyers will pay, maybe a week after they bought it, and maybe I just got that and I didn't see it in the solds or whatever, because I look at all the solds and whatnot. And overall, it can just become a big mess when you're dealing with this many items. So the way that I double check that is there's a couple things I can do. First of all, I print out all the labels of the things that are sold. So if I have all the labels in front of me and those don't match the number of games I have, or if I'm packing and I'm missing a game for a label, that's the most obvious way to tell, is I'll just run back over and grab the missing game. But another thing that I like to do is I will go back to the history of my solds, and I will look to make sure that all of the items that are supposed to be shipped out are the ones that I pulled. And that just takes a quick second to double check through it, just almost cross check them quickly, and that guarantees that I didn't make any mistakes here. Because again, it is quite frequent. Also, another question I've gotten before is, how do I know that I'm pulling the right game? Obviously the custom SKU thing helps, but as you may have seen, I believe it was it this bin? Yeah, this bin here, you guys can see there was 3 copies of Mag, 2 left there, and then I pulled 1. How do I know which one's which? Well, there's no specific identification, so what I had to do is I had to compare against the photo to make sure that I got the right one. In this case, it was fairly simple because the other 2 were Game of the Year editions, and this one, I think it was this one here, or maybe one up from it. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, this one here was not a Game of the Year edition, so that was fairly straightforward. Anyway, just a whole bunch of things you have to think about when you are trying to ship out items. Okay, a couple more quick sales that we had to pull now. One of them was this Wii controller up here, and we finally sold our first one of these guys. I have maybe 40 of them or so in this bin here, and we sold one of these guys for the $15 amount that I was looking to get. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and ship this guy out. And then we also sold something, guys, that I just listed the other day, and here it is right here. Go figure, the Shot Direct remote, which I told you guys would sell very quickly. So there's that guy right there. We got whatever the price is on the screen for it. Not too bad there at all. I did take an offer. It was a couple dollars less, and I probably could have waited and got the full amount, but I figured why not get the sale going. Again, trying to boost some of the other listings. These are all actually live now, but again, trying to boost all the other listings so that maybe we can see some sales come out of those. Nevertheless, another good order there. Alright guys, so here we are finally over at the shipment table, which is where all the magic happens, of course. So I want to take you through a couple different cases here that I'm dealing with in terms of shipping all of these items out. There's a couple special orders going on here that we have to work through, and also just some basic stuff about how I might pack an item like this, or how I might send out a loose disc. Okay, let's get right into it. Over here I've got this cabinet. As you can see, it's got a whole bunch of shipping supplies. First thing that we're gonna need, and I ran out my white ones, but the first thing that we'll need are these these guys right here, which are the disc sleeves that I ship out every single thing in, and this is to make sure that these do not get damaged or scratched. Might just want to give them a quick look for fingerprints, but most of them should be okay. Now, you guys may have noticed in my actual setup there, when I was pulling all these loose discs, they were coming from one bin, and that bin is actually just full of loose discs, and it makes it an absolute disaster to go through and pull these guys. So I'm looking for a new solution for that right now. I might just start filling up disc books again. I've done that in the past, but it, again, is a little bit inefficient in terms of pulling things, but then again, it's better than what I'm doing now. So I'm still looking for a good solution for storing these guys, loose discs, just like this. I tried again with these white ones to have them already in the case. That seems to be also a pretty good way, but you still have to look through them all. So not sure exactly what I'm gonna do about these just yet, but nevertheless, it's working out for now, sort of. Okay, so there we go. Now these guys are all in their individual sleeves, which is fantastic. For anybody wondering, this is approximately 30-35 orders or so in total here, so shouldn't be too bad. But again, this is about, actually this is probably a little bit more on the higher side. Again, it's been quite the weekend, but I'm usually dealing with at least 15 items, you know, sort of on the every other day to daily basis. And that's sort of how I ship everything out. Nevertheless, I suppose this is about 3 days of sales, so not too bad at all. And we'll go ahead and maybe start off here actually with the non-video game related items. All right, so we'll start off with the remote right here. I have a big bubble wrap reel off camera, but I basically start off here by just giving it a quick layer of bubble wrap. This is nothing too special, but again, just very simple, and it protects it during shipping. Little piece of tape on that, like so, that'll hold it. I take all this nonsense at the top and I just sort of scrunch it all together. And I do like one big fold of it like that. And exact same kind of thing here, guys, at the back. Just like that, we're done. Nothing special. So I store most of my boxes in this cabinet below, at least the ones that are, you know, from eBay, not my bigger ones that I save. But these are the ones I actually buy. So here's the eBay ones right here. Looks like we need to break into a new bundle, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, so these are 8x6x4s from eBay. You can get them with your shipping coupon, and this should be perfect for this item. Yeah, just about. Give it a little bit of tape here on the back, and that gives us a box to work with. I have this kind of packing paper below. I just sort of scrunch it up like that and push it in there. I take the item and then I throw it in, and I just fold it all over on top. Okay, and just like that, that is enough packing for this item. We can actually go ahead and tape that up. There we go, guys. That one's done. I even wrapped it around just for a little bit of extra help there in case it needs it, but there we go. And you can hear it's not moving around in there. One piece of paper, a little bit of bubble wrap, and that's all that needs. So I purchased most of my labels for these things using the Canada Post Snap Ship tool. I know that's not necessarily the most efficient way to do it, but that's how I've been doing it now for a while. I know there's a lot of sellers out there that most likely either use the built-in eBay tool, or if you're a beginner, you're probably just putting the buyer's address on this and taking it to the post office and letting them do it. I haven't had the best experience using the eBay shipping tool. I guess it's called Shippo here in Canada, and so I just prefer using SnapShip, and that's what I've been using here for quite a while. Okay, guys, joystick time. If you guys remember, I posted a video where we had purchased about 50 of these a little while back. They just came in last week, and this is actually the first one that sold. We got 15 bucks for it, so not bad at all there. But I think very simply on this one, I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing. I'm gonna fold it up like this. I'm gonna fold the bubble wrap over it, and yeah, just like we did before, just gonna tape it up here with the bubble wrap. Yeah, again, nothing too complicated. That should do it. Now, I had mentioned that you could probably ship this using a bubble mailer or a poly bag, and it would be there fine, but I think I'm just gonna take the extra precaution on these guys and put them in an eBay box. This is the smallest one that eBay makes, I believe, and this is the, what is this? The 6x4x4. I'm thinking that we'll be able to fit it in here. And there we go, nice little box. I'm thinking that the packing paper should fit. Yeah, this guy fits in here well, which is great. Okay, a little bit of packing paper. We'll throw the item in there like so, fold it all over, and yeah, close it up. That should do the trick. Now, I'm not gonna close this one just yet because I'm not gonna buy the labels here probably for another hour or two, and I wanna just remember 100% what's in here. Now, for me, this isn't a huge problem because I'm not usually dealing with too many boxed items like this. I'm usually selling more video games, but more recently I have been selling more and more other items outside the video game niche, and that requires, you know, some different size boxes, and they're all getting sealed up, and then I have trouble remembering what's in each box. So what I've done before and what I've seen some people do is just write a little note to yourself, a label on the box, whatever, of what item is inside of there. That's a good way to do it. Another option, leave them open until you have the labels printed. That's what I've done most of the time here, and I would just simply leave it open with the item showing. Then when I go and print up the label for it, I know that it's the exact item, and then I don't actually close it until I have the label in hand. Then I can close it up and actually put that label right onto it, so there's no mix-ups. So far, I've never shipped the wrong box to a buyer so far. I've shipped plenty of wrong games to buyers, but I haven't shipped the wrong box to a buyer yet with the labels, so that's great. But it is something to think about. Okay, guys, time for some fun. Let's move on to video games. Let's start off with the loose discs because they're super easy. What I normally do is I get a piece of cardboard because this gives it something solid to back on. Otherwise, the disc can bend in transit. But I get a piece of cardboard. I tape the disc onto the piece of cardboard so it doesn't move around. Get a nice 7x9 bubble mailer. I get these all online now from eBay for anybody wondering, but you can get them at the dollar store and other places. I believe they're called size 0 is the same thing as 7x9. I switched from a Chinese supplier to a US supplier. I do like them. However, these do have the bubbles on the top, which is actually what you probably want to avoid if you're trying to ship through the slot, because that makes it ever so slightly bigger, and sometimes you can have some trouble when you're going through the slot with these. Anyway, you take the item on the cardboard, you open the thing up, you drop it in there, and then you're just going to pull this seal. I don't actually know if this is part of a bundle or if this is going to one person, so I'm not going to pull the seal, but then you would pull the seal on it. You then have this. I would take one of my return addresses, and luckily I have a PO box now, which is great. I recommend anybody who's selling at scale to have a PO box, but if you're just a beginner, use your home address, whatever. But of course, I've got a PO box here, so I put that up in the top left corner of the parcel, then I put the buyer's name big in the middle here, and then I will stamp it in the top right. And currently I'm using these rolls of stamps. I've got the $30s here and the $94s here, which are great for these. This would just use a $94 within Canada through the slot, but this means I can just drop them off at the red box and I don't even have to go into the post office, which is great. However, these all actually will end up going through the post office. Most of the times they do, because I'm dropping off other parcels there anyway. So luckily though, I can drop everything off, not a problem. Now for a lot of you guys it might be different, but let me just quickly explain the letter mail process here for myself. I basically have two sizes that go out. I have regular, which is under 100, and that just goes for a regular letter mail price of $1.94. So one of these stamps, this is 33, so we are oversized and under 100. And then the only other thing that I deal with is these games, which might be over 100, and that's between 100 and 200. And in that case, I put two stamps on, one of the $94s and then one of the $30s, and that's it. So I do weigh all of these because some of them will go under 100 and I can get them for just $1.94, but the other ones I had to add an extra $1.30 to them, and that's as simple as that. Okay, let's talk international parcels here really quickly. I know a lot of you guys were telling me in the last video that I did about Canada Post letter mail that you're not supposed to send out international letter mail that have actual items in them. Yeah, you're not supposed to send these as letter mail. You're supposed to send them as international regular mail, and then you're supposed to fill out a customs form for it. Now I did learn this, guys. This is true. I was doing this wrong before, but then again, a lot of the people working at Canada Post were allowing me to do it anyway, so it wasn't never really a problem. Yeah, I've never had a problem with it, but nevertheless, I suppose you are supposed to do them as parcels. So for all my US orders and international ones, for the most part now, they're all going as parcels now, which does mean that you have to fill out one of these small custom forms and provide it with your order if you're not doing it with the SnapShip tool. Really simple. If you go to your post office and you're telling them that you're selling in volume, you can usually get all these for free. They'll just hand you a whole pile of them as however many you need. But yeah, just a nice thing to know when you're sending as international that you can get those, and you also have to send them as parcels. Okay, finally guys, this is a very simple one, but I've got a couple combined orders here for some of these games, and what I'm going to end up doing for those, for the most part, one person I think actually bought some of them here with the cases, but they wanted discounted shipping rate. So what I offered them was that I would just remove the cover art, the manuals, and just send those with the disc all within one case. So I'm just going to give them one case. I'm going to put cover art, manual art, and everything, all the discs in one of the cases, and try to fit them in the slot. If not, I'm going to send them as two parcels in the slot, one with all the letter mail cover art, and I'll make sure it's all secure, and then one of just the games with the cases. However it works out, I'm going to end up doing that for them. So that's one way that I can offer discounted shipping. Another person here has like 2 or 3 games, and then they've also purchased a bunch of loose discs. So what I'm going to be doing is just sticking those loose discs. For example, if this was them, open it up, stick the loose discs inside of the case. They actually seal like that. And then you can just, pile as many of them in here as you want. You can also combine the shipping. The weight will be slightly bigger, so you might have to check and pay a little bit more for the stamps. Nevertheless, you can still save some shipping money there for the buyers. I always tell the people buying from me, though, that either I can do that sort of thing where I can, get rid of the cases and just send out discs at a discounted price, or combine things like games with discs. But the reality is, if they're not buying more than 3 games, then I can't really send them as a parcel or as an expedited mail, just because the math doesn't work out. The second that they start buying more than 3, well, then obviously the shipping price comes out better if you use an expedited parcel at $3.50 a piece for letter mail. Now you're getting up into that $10 range, which is right where expedited starts. So you got to be careful about that. But yeah, you can offer shipping discounts if they're buying, more than 3 or 4 items. Same exact shipping process though, guys, for case games. And finally here, 7x9 bubble mailer, you throw it in there. You put your return address on the top left, you put your buyer's address in the middle, you put your stamps on the top right, and that's it. If you're not using stamps, you can get them to just print one out for you, or you can buy them at the post office when you go to drop these guys off. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm gonna go ahead now and work on getting all of these orders packed up, and I will go ahead and drop them off at the post office. All right, guys, so I think we're gonna wrap up today's video there. Hopefully you guys were able to find some value in this. Again, start taking you guys through the most frequent things that I ship out on a daily basis. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about my shipping processes, be sure to leave them down below, and I'll be happy to answer them and try to help you guys out when trying to figure out how to ship your items. Also, if you have any suggestions for me and the systems that I'm using here in terms of making them more efficient, then be sure to leave those down below as well. With that all said, we'll leave it here. Hopefully you guys found some value in this. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you guys all in the next one.